What's going on, everybody? Afflicted Gamer here, back with another Division video. So I went and I made my classified Tactician's Authority build. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the breakdown of it and give you some options in terms of gear pieces in case you don't have the full 6-piece, or if you want to run with the 5-piece. Give you a few options and also a way that you can utilize the build in either PvP or in PvP. So let's dive right in. First up, what does Tactician do? The 2-set bonus gives you an additional 15% skill haste. The 3-set bonus gives you an additional 10% skill power. Then Tactician's Authority. Every bullet you hit enemies with adds 1% bonus skill power. Every bullet your deployed skills hit enemies with adds 0.2% bonus skill power. Skill power bonus max is 30%. Bonus is consumed on skill use. The 5-set bonus from Classified gives me an additional 5% skill haste and an additional 5% skill power. I did not go with the 6-piece. The reason for that is getting up to the 60% cap is a little bit more time consuming, a little bit more difficult, not terribly hard, but I would rather go with the 5-piece and Barrett's Bulletproof Vest. I can get to the 30% bonus max very quickly, use it, get it back, use it again, rinse and repeat. It's quite simple. Why did I choose Barrett's Bulletproof Vest? Well, the readout: no skills on cooldown increases skill power by 10%. One skill on cooldown increases damage by 5%, and 2 skills on cooldown increases armor by 10%. I've always thought Barrett's was probably one of the best exotic gear pieces in the game, and one way or another, I'm always benefiting from this vest. There are other alternatives if you don't have Barrett's, like Rapid or Vigorous. And in terms of the backpack, I know a lot of people will use Inventive. Again, that is not a bad choice, but as it reads out, increase skill power by 15% while at full health. That's why I'm not using it. You only get the benefit of Inventive if you are at full health. So there's no way I'm always going to be at full health, and Barrett's will allow me to always get some sort of a benefit, whether it's the extra damage from skill power, damage with one skill on cooldown, armor if they're both on cooldown, which is obviously useful being this squishy. So yeah, that's why I chose that. Relentless is another fantastic backpack, especially for PvE, because you get a portion of your healing back just from your skills. So you can run Seeker Mine, and you can run a turret or Seekers and a BFB. You can run 2 skills at the same time, and one of them does not have to be healing. So that is another option, and it by far is not a bad one. But if you want to go into PvP, and there are a few other changes I'll make before anybody jumps the gun, I would go with Barrett's. So now, in terms of the weapons, before I go into the breakdown of the gear, first up, Navy MP5N. If I had the house which was, geared towards a skill build, I would use one, but the Navy MP5N is by far not a bad choice. I've got Talented, Competent, and Ferocious. This one has Ferocious because it is for PvE, but if I was going into PvP, I would rather have something in the free slot like Deadly, Unforgiving, Responsive, something of that sort. Both weapons, just to get this out of the way, are modded the same. Mag size, crit chance, rate of fire, the optics, crit chance, crit damage, headshot damage, same thing with the loud vent break, and the small grip is crit damage, stability, and reload speed. To be honest, if I had a showstopper that was also geared towards a skill build, I would use that. 8 pellets coming out at you at once will allow you to build that 30% bonus, get that stack up really fast. I would take that in there also. But for now, I've got a lightweight M4 as my backup with Intense, Competent, and Unforgiving. I tried to get Talented in the top slot, but to be honest, when I went into PvP with Intense, I was setting people on fire a lot more often than I expected. While they were too busy putting out their flames, I pulled out the sticky bomb, and that was that. So it worked out quite well. And again, it's modded the same way as the Navy MP5N, except for the grip. I went with an angled grip for extra stability instead of crit damage. Use the small grip if you like, but I found this made the weapon a lot more stable because just like the Love OSC, the lightweight M4 has a bit of kick. So now in terms of the build, you can get your electronics number even higher, and you can get your skill power even higher than this. These were the best skill power mods that I had. If I have some with better values on them, I'm absolutely going to use them, but I've crafted up so many that I just can't get any more at the moment. So, in terms of my mods on the vest, I've got electronics and skill power. As you can see, the skill power number is at 3089. That can go up to 3300 and something, and the 261 can go up to 267. So, that's what I'm talking about. When I get better mods, that number of skill power will go even higher. The second one is electronics and skill haste. A lot of people will use just the skill haste mods. That's fine. I know you want to get up to that 50%, but you don't need to have 50%. I'll show you where I'm at when we get to the character sheet. Down to the mask, I've got it rolled to electronics, skill power as the major attribute, and damage to elites in the minor. The major attribute, if you want enemy armor damage in there because you want to go into PvP more than PvE, then go for it, but I prefer to have the extra skill power. The mod, electronics, skill power. Down to the knee pads. Once again, you know it, rolled to electronics, skill power is the major, disorientation resist, shock resist, and damage to elites. Damage to elites is there because I primarily play more PvE than PvP. If it was for PvP, I would put disrupt resist, I would put bleed resist, one of those things in its place, because you run into a lot of Predator's Mark. And anybody else in there with attack build, some of them, if they're running in a group, will have that disrupt, and that is just, well, a pain in the ass. So it's nice to have that little bit of extra resistance. In terms of the mods, electronics with skill power, and I've got Seeker Mind damage. Over to my holster, over 1400 almost across the board. Major attribute is skill haste. Some people will put health there. It's not a bad option, but you'll see why I've got skill haste in a little bit. Down to the minor, sticky bomb damage, as that will be and always will be my primary skill that I'm using. The gloves can still be fully optimized, and I will when I get more D-Tech. The other thing is, not everybody will like to use an SMG, so you could reroll that for assault rifle damage, which I was debating on, but I left it with SMG damage, crit chance, and like you can see right there, the 13-14 electronics, that can go up even higher. Up to my backpack, again, it's rolled to electronics, skill power as the major, ammo capacity in the minor. Down to the mods, I've got electronics with skill power, sticky bomb damage again, and then one first aid self heal. So you might wonder why the first aid self heal and why the Seeker Mine. Why not just have them all sticky bomb damage? Well, if I'm gonna jump into PvP, the first aid self heal will be there because I will run either overdose or booster shot with my sticky bomb. And if I'm just straight up gonna run something solo, then I'm going to have the Seeker Mind damage because I can just have 2 skills deployed if I'm not using a turret. So you could swap those out. I mean, I could take out the Seeker Mind damage right now and throw on an extra first aid self heal for the DZ if I want to. I always keep one there in the free slot to go ahead and swap it out if I feel I need to. But yep, that is that. Now, in terms of the abilities, talents in the spreadsheet, recovery link, I've got Seeker Mines on. Like I said, you can always swap to Overdose or Booster Shot for PvP, and then the BFB. Talents, again, I know a few people will make a couple of arguments here, and they're not bad ones. This is just personal preference, which is what all build videos are. They're preferences and suggestions. Critical save, use a medkit during a low health to increase damage resistance by 20% for 10 seconds. Strike back, reach low health to reduce active skill cooldowns by 20%. Up top, I've got Demolition Expert, kill a hostile with an explosion to increase explosion damage by 20% for 15 seconds. And then finally, Chain Reaction. Damage multiple hostiles with an explosion to apply 20% more damage from the blast. A lot of people are going to say, wow, you need Death by Proxy. Well, Death by Proxy is great. But, just like Inventive, if you read it out, destroy a hostile's deployed skill to increase skill power by 20% for 30 seconds, that's great. But that means I have to destroy a hostile's deployed skill to get that buff. You can make the argument, well, you have to kill somebody to get the benefit from Demolition Expert. Yep, you are absolutely right. And if I don't have enough skill power to do it at 10k electronics, then I shouldn't have that on there. But considering I can do that, I'm going to leave that there. If you go into PvP, I would probably put on Death by Proxy just because a lot of people will have an immunizer out, people will have their flame turrets out. So that's probably where, if I use Death by Proxy, that's where I would switch it up. So, but for PvE, I will leave it like that. Now, if we go over to my character, you guys want to know where the skill haste is at? Scoot down. I've got mine at 39%. Excuse my voice there. I could go higher. I could go up to the 50%. To be honest, I wouldn't mind getting it a little bit higher, but at 39%, it's not bad at all. I get my skills back quite quickly, and you know, I'm good to go with that at 39%. That's where people will add a few additional extra electronics mods with skill haste just so that they can get to that cap, or they'll even roll the 9% on their gloves, which is another thing you could do instead of crit chance. So that option is up to you, but this is how I have my build set up. So anyways, guys, there you have it. There is the 10k electronics classified tactician build. I do hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and especially for the new players that are trying to put builds together, they're not sure why to put something in certain places or the reasons why we do things the way that we do, the veteran players, the way that we set up our builds. I do hope it was helpful. Once again, drop a like on the video if so. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Don't forget, you can always follow me on Twitter at Afflicted Gamer. Stay in touch with me, ask me any questions you like. And other than that, guys, I will see you pretty soon in the next video or in the next live stream. I love that emote. I had to do it. Alright guys, take care. Leave your comments down below about your tac build, and I'll see you soon in the next video.